I want to talk to you about Freemasonry.
Okay.
And at one point, you were the Grand Master of Mason in California.
Correct.
So how did you first become a Mason and why?
Well, I became a Mason when I was 21.
And what made you do that?
My dad was a Mason. It still is. My dad's still alive.
He's still living?
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
I'm 69.
You're 69?
Right.
So your dad is like 169?
No, Dad's 91.
That's amazing, man. It's not
Longevity runs in my family. It's genetics. Genetics.
That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you close to your father?
Yeah, he lives out in Thousand Oaks.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And do you call him Daddy?
I call him Dad.
Wow, that's amazing. And so
we look alike.
Oh, you look alike?
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love
reassuring.
Like yeah, sure is.
Reassuring.
And nothing like looking like your father.
Right.
And before becoming a Mason, because your father was one, you
Right.
already knew what they stood for and what they were about.
Absolutely. Our family friends were Masons. My grandfathers were Masons. I trace my Masonic ancestry back, as far as I know, to a fourth great grandfather who was a Mason.
Really? I also read the Masons of your group is self-improvement. I'm sorry, the mission of your group is self-improvement.
Right.
What does that mean, self-improvement? How do you do that?
Make yourself a better person.
How do you do that?
Well, first of all, the Masonic concept is that we're supposed to learn how the world works and what our role is in improving it. And before we can work to improve the world, we need to start with me, improving me. And Freemasonry works based on symbolism that we borrowed from the stonemasons guilds of the Middle Ages. And through those symbols, we get a better understanding of what our obligations are to one another.
So did you have to do self-improvement when you became a Mason?
That's just the natural part of the process of being a Mason.
And so what was wrong with you prior to becoming a Mason that you had to improve upon?
Well, I wouldn't say things were wrong. It's how I could be better.
And how did you become better? What did you become better? How did you become a better person?
I mean,
what did you become?
What is the evidence of that? Well, I like to think I'm more patient. I like to think I'm more altruistic.
What is altruistic?
Doing for others.
Oh, okay.
With no expectation of getting something in return.
And you were not that way prior to becoming a Mason?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say maybe I'm better at it.
Oh, I got you. And do they teach you to become that way, or did you just
no, that's
by
the point.
observation?
That's the point of self-improvement. You work on yourself.
And do they tell you to do that? Like in the meeting, we all have the Mason meetings.
Right.
Do they say, okay, today's meeting is about self-improvement?
No, we wouldn't do that.
How do you know to do self-improvement once you get there?
Well, that's the whole reason to join, is for self-improvement. So you to know that when you come.
Oh, to know that before you become a Mason?
Right.
But how would I know if my father's not a Mason, and I know no one who is a Mason, and they have secrets. They won't tell you the secret, right? I have an uncle who is a Mason. I'm like, what is the secret? He won't tell me. And
Jesse, there are exposés written about the Masonic ritual. You can find them in libraries. You can find them on the internet.
So is the secret out? Do the Masons still have a secret?
Well, I guess it depends on what you mean by a secret. I think some of the things we're talking about, obviously people don't generally understand. How do you do self-improvement?
How would I know that that's a mission of a Mason, of the Masonry, Mason, to do self-improvement if no one told me beforehand?
Oh, I suppose word of mouth, reading about it.
Oh, I see. It's all out there. The information is out there somewhere.
Right.
Oh, I got you.
And most people who come to become a Mason have already done some due diligence about the organization. There's something about us that attracts them to us. I think the fact that we've been around for such a long period of time, the fact that it's an intergenerational environment, it's not sitting in front of a computer every day. We don't allow discussion of religion or politics at lodge.
How long has Freemasonry been around?
Well, and I think probably what you're asking is
how old is it?
How long?
It's not a religion, right? It's like
no, of course,
club.
no. It's not a religion.
So how long has this organization been in the making? How many years?
Well, at least as far as being a organization that's about spirituality and philosophy, since the early 1600s.
Did it start in the United States?
No.
Where did it start?
The British Isles, England and Scotland.
Oh, I see. That's amazing. Why did they allow it to come to the United States?
Because Masons came to the United States
Oh, I got you.
from England and Scotland.
Can you be a Freemason if you believe in God?
Well, you need to believe in a supreme being and a future existence to be a member of my lodge.
So is God the supreme being that you need to believe in?
If that's how you choose to understand it, yes.
Because some people believe in Satan as the supreme being. Can they be a Mason, a Freemason?
Well, you have to believe. You need to believe in a supreme being that's for good. So I'd assume that when you talk about Satan, you're talking about something that's for bad.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Do you, when you join the organization, do they ask if you believe in God or Satan?
No. They ask if you have a belief in a supreme being and a future existence.
And what is a supreme being?
It's a term of art that arose during the Enlightenment. You may know from history that during the period of the Enlightenment, there was a great deal of religious disruption in Europe. And people of the Enlightenment tried to find a way to transcend the sectarian disputes that then were raging through Europe between the Catholics and the Protestants. And one way to do that was to phrase God as the supreme being. And it's not being in that it's a thing like a bearded guy sitting on a Cornelian throne with wheels of fire. It's a being, an assumption of functionality, not a thing, but a concept, what it does.
I got you. And is it possible to improve your life without a belief in God as a Mason?
Well, but part of being a Mason is, as I said earlier, is understanding how the world works and how I can make it better. And it's all premised that there is some underlying harmony in the universe that it's our obligation to be part of. I mean, probably the most fundamental symbol of Freemasonry is geometry. Geometry measures how the planets move in their orbits. It's something that Pythagoras observed in his school of philosophy. The music or harmony of the spheres, as his school referred to it. We can see it today in quantum physics. Everything, Jesse, ultimately is energy. The things that look like they're material are really energy on a quantum level, interacting in a fashion that makes it look like it's material. And on a quantum level, that energy interacts in a fashion that obeys certain rules, that if scientists try to get it to disobey those rules, it will bounce back again. It's exactly what Pythagoras observed in the harmony or music of the spheres. Candidly, I see the supreme being in that energy and how it behaves. And that it's my obligation as a human being to be in harmony with that energy.
Amazing. That is amazing. 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 Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. 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 That is amazing. Amazing. Amazing.